welcome. Thank you for being here. And let's just start as we usually do with getting centered and quiet. And we'll have a little meditation. As I go into the silence, I am filled with all the love around me at this moment. I feel the presence of others here in this beautiful conversation. I feel their souls. I feel their light. I am grateful for this presence, a presence of love that has no boundaries, no physical nearness needed, for love is beyond all that. I make the intention tonight to honor everyone here, to understand we are all heroes in this journey on earth. We walk together through turmoil and grief and fear and share celebration, peace, connection, and inspiration. This evening, I go forth with an open heart of compassion, consideration, and respect as we learn to be truly present with each other and to ourselves. As I go into the silence, I imagine being filled with the presence of everyone as comfort, security, love, and peace, and great light. I see myself totally present with each person. My only wish tonight is to see them totally and lovingly and understand their feelings and their needs. I seek to be one with everyone and everything. And so it is. We'll begin our presentation in a minute. First of all, let me introduce Sam. Sam Lee is on the path to become a certified trainer from CNBC, Center for Nonviolent Communication. For the past 12 years, he has been facilitating empathy practice groups and introductory workshops and has participated in many NVC workshops and trainings. He enjoys the actual practice of inward learning and inner growth. He is highly regarded by his peers and participants. Sam is dedicated to co-creating sacred and safe space for self-connection, self-empowering, and self-resourcing, which in turn enhances the quality of one's lived experience. After studying other modalities, Sam has come to appreciate the simplicity and consciousness-empowering effects of the compassionate communication techniques, also known as nonviolent communication. Charles and I have known Sam and watched his passion and gentle leadership grow for quite a few years now. He is involved in other endeavors such as adopting and co-creating the nutrition and wellness group Natural Wellness. He has facilitated spiritual study groups at Unity of Fairfax for the past 9 years and generously donated his time and resources to many forms of service. And if that's not all, he's also a member of our New Earth Visioning Project team. So this is Sam. But as those of us who know him well, it's only a little bit of Sam. Just some facts about him. But the standout thing some of us know and think about is that our Sam is gentle, modest, and kind, and incredibly easy to love. Before I turn it over to Sam, I just want to say that as usual, we will be recording this meeting, but we will edit out breakout sessions. These will not be included in the final video we publish on the website or on YouTube. And with that, I'm turning over to you, Sam. Tonight's your night.
Thank you, Janice. Thank you for the warm welcome and reading the bio, and just warms my heart to be here. I'm really full of lots of excitement and enthusiasm to present the spirituality and where NVC consciousness and the route towards spirituality, I found that self-empathy and empathy with others really is a stepping steps, and a process for me to with the divine spiritual energy that each of us are. So I have the screen share. I'll share that with us. Can everybody hear me okay? Can you raise your right hand if you can hear me okay? Yeah, very good. Okay, very good. I'm going to ask for a little bit of participation too. I think people like that. So if you're willing to put information in the chat or questions in the chat, I can answer that way. And please feel free to interrupt. I like participation. So if you have any questions, you can always unmute yourself and ask the questions, and then I'll be able to answer them. How's that sound? All right. So this is about finding spiritual connection through inner empathy. It's an experience I've been practicing for about, as Janice said, about 12 years. And yeah. First question I want to ask is, really, what is empathy? What does that mean to you? And I'd love for us to, maybe, I was thinking the breakout room, and why don't we do that? Why don't we break out in twos?
A question. I have a question.
Okay.
We're going to talk about what empathy means to us? Or are we going to talk about what we think empathy is not? Some of the things that
Yeah, great question, Janice. Why don't we actually stay in the main group here? And yeah, why don't we do that? Well, I want to do the breakout rooms. Let's see here. Yeah, I would like to have just maybe a 5-minute conversation with you guys. So the question is going to be that you're going to discuss, introduce yourself if you don't know each other. And the two question is, what does empathy mean to you? And what are some examples of what empathy is not? And I'll put that again in the chat when you're in the rooms. So what's going to happen is you're going to go into these breakout rooms in pairs, and you're going to discuss for 5 minutes, what does empathy mean to you? And discuss some example of what empathy is not. All right, here we go. All right. We'll wait for everyone else to come back. I would, and remember to unmute yourself if you're willing to share, or you maybe put your thoughts into the chat, and then we can also record you out of the recording in case you don't want to be recorded. So we can certainly do that. What is your thoughts on what is empathy and what is not empathy? I'd love to hear a few hands, or just feel free to unmute yourself so that we can hear you all. You don't have to raise your hand. You can just unmute yourself and share. What do you think empathy is, and what do you think empathy is not? Yeah, Ted, go ahead.
Yeah, well, what we discussed in our breakout room, that what I kind of thought empathy was being able to like put yourself in another person's place and, you know, feeling, understanding and feeling what they feel.
Yeah. Putting yourself in the other person's shoes and guessing what the other person might feel. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a part of it. Absolutely. Yeah. What else? Great definition of empathy. In my
Feeling
evaluation.
others. Oh, my bad.
Okay.
Feeling others' auras and sitting in front of them and comforting them with your presence.
Oh, I love that. The warm, gentle presence of a truly, deeply listener. Yeah? Thank you, Miles. How about what is the definition of empathy is not? You can answer either one.
Well, I don't think it's very empathetic for people to if I'm saying something, to then lecture me, or or saying something, oh, you shouldn't feel that way.
Right. Yeah, what empathy is not. What I'm hearing from you, Janice, is that if somebody lectures you or says what you're feeling is not, right?
Yeah,
That's definitely not.
it's like just dismissing my feeling.
Yeah, it's like dismissing your feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to put this into the chat and I'll read it out loud. It's a poet in the 15th century, Rumi. Out beyond the fields of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. I'll read that again from Rumi. Beyond the wrongdoing and right doings, there is a field. I'll meet you there. To me, I like that one as an example of what empathy is. All right. Anybody else want to share before we move on? I'm going to bring up this screen share. And if you wanted to share a comment, please feel free. Don't feel free to, feel free to unmute yourself and share. And if you're not speaking, if you mute yourself, it helps everybody else to concentrate better. All right, so this is the main aspects of nonviolent communication, otherwise known as compassionate communications. It was developed by Marshall Rosenberg in the 60s. And now internationally, there's well over 400 certified CNVC trainers. So at the top, you can see there's two parts to this 4-component model. So if you look at the left-hand side where it says empathetic listening, that's part 1 of the observations, pure observations, feelings, needs, and making a request. Within ourself, what we call self-empathy. Or if we're holding the spaciousness for another person, we're empathetically listening. And then once we listen, we can also, once the person has a sense of being gotten, a sense of empathy, then we asking for permission to express our honesty might be another way to express our honesty, because it's equally important to express the truth that's inside the listener as well, through observations, feelings, needs, and requests. Does that make sense? Yeah? And I'm gonna, you'll have this video, so you can always watch it later. And I have materials I can also send you as well. And there's a book that Marshall Rosenberg wrote, The Language of Life, Nonviolent Communications. Okay. So what is empathy? Empathy is a universal human need, kind of like sustenance, air, water, food, whole food for me. Love, compassion, it's a universal human need. Maybe sustainability, perhaps we call it work. Peace, these are all universal human needs. We have a deeply need for being understood. And this definition is what empathy is, being understood, being gotten. We can think of it as a respectful or compassionate understanding of the speaker in that moment, perhaps of the past or of the future. When offering empathy, we embody a quality of completely being present with what's alive in the other person, in the speaker, in each moment. Okay? Therefore, empathy has a quality of following rather than leading. Let me read that one again. Empathy has a quality of following rather than leading. Yeah. So why don't we demo that in a minute? What are the benefits of empathy? The ability to offer empathy allows us to stay vulnerable. It can quell potential violence. It can get ahead of it. Yeah. Helps us to hear the word no when we're making a request without taking it as a rejection. Yeah. It can revive lifeless conversations. Yeah. And you can even hear the feelings and needs expressed through silence. We can create empathy space just with our warm presence. And as a listener, I can guess and stay with the energy of the speaker by the feelings and needs, guesses within myself without saying a word, and just keeping that warm presence. All right, for a little fun and play, this is what empathy is not. There's a difference between sympathy and empathy, right? Sympathy, right, is I feel your pain, and then I'm taking the attention off the speaker and onto myself, right? So I've been there, right? Now the attention is off of the speaker and it's back on me. That's sympathy, right? Yeah. Suggestions or recommendations after the speaker spoke? Let me tell you what I think you should do, right? That's that fix it energy. Fixing or resolving things. Let's say the teenager got into an accident, and mom says, "Well, Daddy will buy you a new one. Don't worry about it. It's okay. You'll be all right." Right? Investigation. This is when you ask the who, what, where, when, why. Right? Investigation. When was the first time you felt this way? Right? Rather than, I'm guessing you're feeling. Right? Diagnosing. This is one of my favorites. In our culture, we do this often, right? This is because you're an egomaniac, right? This is because you're just stupid. This is because you're silly. This is because, you can't ever get this right. This is a diagnosis. It's because you're an Aquarius, right? This is because you're a Taurus, right? Aries, right? And then honesty is different than empathy, right? So honesty would be later. So honesty might sound like, when I hear you saying that, I feel upset. Right? Again, that has a similar flavor to sympathy, but it's taking the focus away from the speaker onto the listener. We want this. There's a balance between the compassionate listener stating the observations, feelings, needs, and making a request, and then when the listener fully shares that supportive energy to the speaker, then perhaps the honesty might be well suited at that point. Or another way of saying it is connection first, correction second. Connection first, correction. So connection before correction. Right? That's one of my favorites. It took me a while to figure that out. And I still regress from here and there. And something else I do from time to time is agreement. It's not empathy, right? You're right. Just kind of acquiescing and just saying, you're right. Those are some examples of what empathy is not. All right. Any questions with that so far? Ted, question, please.
Yeah, it's funny, Sam, because when in our breakout room, I mentioned sympathy versus empathy, and you went right to that when we got back. So I thought that was pretty amazing.
Right.
But no, I think a part of empathy and stuff with me is like a lot of people like to talk to me about stuff, and I don't throw my suggestions and opinions on them. I usually ask them questions because I can't fix their problem. So I like to discuss with them their problem and try to find a way to help them fix it themselves, because they have to essentially fix their own problems. I just try to help put them on a path to do that for themselves.
Yeah. Thank you, Ted. Yeah, I'm hearing that you're learning that for you, the empowering the speaker is another way to allow them to fix their own problems. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Anybody else with any other comments or questions with regards to what empathy is not or what empathy is? Okay. Let me just read this one. It's the role of empathy in communication. It's MVC. Empathy is a universal human need, right? Okay. And needs can be thought of as a core human motivator common to all human beings. It's a condition necessary for humans to thrive, regardless of culture, regardless of our location, wherever we are. The role of empathy in communication relates to us in two parts. And it's basically speaking and listening. Read that again. The role of empathy is in communication relates to two parts of any communication process, of speaking and listening. These can be also understood as giving, which is speaking, or receiving, which is the listener. So when we're giving, we're speaking. When we're truly receiving, we're listening. Yeah. Let me say that one more time because that's so salient. When there's two people speaking at the same time, the needs of being heard is not being met. Okay? And so to be fully understood, if we're practicing the consciousness here of empathy, the person who has more experience could actually listen and create that sacred space so the speaker can just share whatever's alive in the speaker at that moment. So at that point, we're receiving. Yeah. And allow the speaker to give whatever energy or form, so we can empathize with the energy to allow that speaker to be fully heard and their need for empathy is met. So in NVC, we call this honesty and empathy. This allows us to define the role of empathy as compassionate understanding or respectful understanding. Compassionate listening is another way of saying it. When we're fully listened to, deeply understood, or gotten, then our empathy is met. Yeah? All right. Any questions with the role of what universal human needs are? And empathy is one of many human needs. And please feel free to unmute yourself. Any questions at all? Okay. All right. Ted, you had another, go ahead, please.
So it can be
There you
like
go.
interpreted, it can be like interpreted as listening and speaking. Like, is it, empathy can be achieved through speaking or listening. You can be on either end of empathy.
Yeah,
So to
it can be
say.
once the practitioner, let's say that we're the conscious new earth people, and we're striving to be empathetic listeners and demonstrating what empathy is to the speaker. Yeah, it can be.
Okay.
Once the speaker's fully heard, then we might, as a listener, say, hey, so I'm curious if you'd be willing to hear what I have to share, the honesty that's living inside of me in this moment. Would you be willing to hear that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, all right. So also empathy can also lower the emotional charge of the speaker, right? Empathy also functions as a pressure relief valve. When we're in pain, when the speaker's in pain, getting the sense of being heard, the relief of pressure that might feel for the speaker, just so supported when the speaker gets that fully express him or herself. And then after receiving empathy, the speaker is much more connected to what's important to them. And they have much lower emotional charge. Any questions with that? I'll share a short story. There's a particular person in my life, and when he brings up this issue, I kind of want to raise my voice, and sometimes I do, and then he raises his voice, and then I raise my voice, and then all of a sudden we raise our voices, and none of us are fully heard. And it's me, the conscious practitioner, says, "Oh, I'm triggered. My needs to be heard is not being met, and his needs to be heard is not being met. So then we elevate and escalate, and all of a sudden, we're kind of stepping on each other's words, and the voice is getting louder, the volume is getting louder, and neither one of us is listening. So for me, this is a practice that I always like to go back to is, do I have the capacity and the self-resourcing skills that I'm developing within myself to give myself that a moment of pause with my speaker and me as a listener? Can I hold both myself, my feelings and needs, and hear from the speaker? And sometimes I might just say, hey, well, I might just have to raise my, might just take a moment and pause and leave and say, sorry, I got to use the restroom or something like that.
Sam, what you were saying about the person that causes you to escalate your voice, it seems like those patterns are learned when we're very young. And a lot of these giving and receiving patterns are learned when we're very young.
Absolutely. Yes.
Can they be unlearned?
I believe so. If you knew me about 20 years ago and you knew me now, you'd be like, wow, you really have changed, Sam.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay, good. Well, that's good news.
Yeah. And it's an ongoing progress throughout our lives.
And like anything, it sounds like it's awareness. You said you stopped and said that you're the one that's consciously aware of the situation and what's happening, and you have to remember your bag of tools when you're in that situation, right?
Yeah. So we can be in that moment when we're triggered, right? We can take the energy of the jackal, who do you think you are, Mr. Know-it-all? Or I can breathe, go inward. Okay. Wow, I'm really triggered by this event. Take a deep breath in. Really, I'm feeling surprised and kind of hurt by these words. I just really have a need for respect within myself, and I'm not getting it from the outside. Yeah. Take a deep breath in, hold it. What else would I be feeling at this moment? Yeah, just feeling a little bit confused, a little lost, triggered. There's a lot of energy of wanting to like talk back. And there's really a need for me to not only speak up, but also share my truth. And there's also an energy of like wanting to be fully heard and having a mutual satisfied outcome of sharing and giving and listening for both of us. So that would be like self-empathy. So empathy within myself. I'm feeling because I have a need for inner empathy. Yeah. And then there's like an inward self-connecting sigh of self-connection. Yeah. And I might be able to give empathy to the other person who's triggered by me. I'm also guessing, and I might do this silently. Doesn't even have to be around, doesn't even have to be alive. Right? In this case, he is alive, and I might just say something like closing my eyes and, yeah, I'm guessing you're triggered too. And there's some emotional pain there. I'm guessing there is also a need for respect. Also, there's also a need for to be heard fully. Yeah. 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 And I'm guessing that there's a need for a mutual satisfying giving and receiving to be fully heard. And that needs to matter that you're contributing. Yeah. I'm guessing that for you. I don't know. Or here just to guess. With these feelings and needs guesses, which is meeting my needs for compassionate listening and empathetically connecting and supporting the speaker. Yeah. So there's an example of which one do I want to live in, right? Arrgh. Huh. I wonder what you're feeling. I wonder what your needs are. Yeah. Yeah, we have a conscious choice, especially when we're triggered. And if we
So
do
do you have like a mnemonic or something that you use in your mind that tells you like to stop, like
Yeah.
just stop and look at the situation?
Yeah,
And
there are many. Let's see, I'll use this one. It's called STAR. Stop, take a breath, and reconnect. The inner source that we are. Stop, take a breath, reconnect. The second one is hold on a second, I go to the bathroom. Because I don't want to raise my voice or say something that I'm going to regret, right? It's an evaluation, it's an opinion of mine, it's a judgmental thought, it's non-compassion. So, oh God, I got to go to the bathroom, right? I got to go. I'll be right back. I can remove myself right there in the spot, right? So that's how another way to do it. And then the third way, which is a bit more integrative, is I can actually feel the felt senses in my body. So more advanced. So I can actually literally feel the feelings of pain, and I can express that. And I'm allowed to in that moment and express my honest feelings in that moment, express it and feel it, the felt senses. So if I'm feeling vulnerable, I can become vulnerable. This is more of the, more advanced integrative processes, feeling the sense of emotional pain, connecting with my life energy, that I matter, that I'm seen, connecting with my life energy of respect, a deep sense of appreciation that I already am. Because my thoughts is going to trigger that I'm not appreciated. And that's not true, right? Is that I forgot the inner sense within myself is I am appreciation, is that I am respect, I am compassion. My needs in the moment, my trigger, my person who is the stimulus of my pain is not the root cause. The root cause is inside myself, that I momentarily forgot that I am respect, that I am love, that I already matter, that I'm already seen, and that it's just a moment of disconnection with source, with the divinity within myself. Okay. Very great question. Thank you. Is that helpful? I'd love to hear your responses. That was a great question. Let me open it up to our audience.
It sounds like something you could do in the bathroom.
Right, absolutely.
Reconnect with what you are.
Right, or phone a friend, right? The reliable sources. Speed dial. Charles, I need your help. I need some empathy. Can you be my listening ear? I've been triggered. Here's my jackal thinking.
Yeah.
Very good. Questions. Ted, I think you had your hand up.
Sam, I'm not trying to get too far ahead of you or anything, but I'm just wondering, this is about communication and stuff. What is the end result that that we expect to see when we practice this?
Yeah.
Is it a mutual understanding? Is it mutual understanding we come to, or a sense of peace and calm and settlement of an issue or something, or is there just no end to the multiple outcomes of something like this?
Yeah, I would say that it's all of that, and it's an ongoing practice. It's a continuation of growing ourselves inwardly from the dominational culture that we all grew up with. So yeah, it's an ongoing process to become better at our innate compassionate nature that we already are. When we're born, we're held, right? And when we're held and fed and cleaned and nurtured, that baby grows up to be compassionate and wants to give. I remember growing up and wanting to pass out money as a gift. And I had no concept of money, but I wanted to give naturally because my needs were already met, right? My parents, took good care of my sister and I. And so we grew up in a compassionate family. And of course, we had some cultures and, the education systems in terms of having fights and, all those kinds of things and so forth. So it's an ongoing process to unlearn some of the things that we would love to be more compassionate about, and then nurture those energies that we're already good at, which is compassion, listening, and giving.
Yeah. Love and understanding. Yeah.
Love and understanding. Yeah. Great needs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Let's go back to the screen share then. So yeah. So what are feelings anyway, right? So feelings are body energy. They're felt senses in the body. And typically that happens when our needs are not met. But we believe our feelings come from our thoughts. Our thoughts are actually stimulus from what we interpret, right? In what we see, hear, or experience. So we might want to say feelings can be satisfied when our needs are met. And we can say our feelings are unsatisfied when our needs are not met. All right? Let me read that one more time. Our satisfied feelings happens when our needs are met. Pretty straightforward. But our feelings can be unsatisfied feelings when our needs are not met. Right? So then the next question might be, what are needs? We shared that briefly. And needs are universal. Connection, physical well-being. I call it sustenance. Right? Honesty, a need for sharing our truth. Playfulness, there's a universal human need. Peace, autonomy, meaning. These are all universal human needs. Notice, right? Notice that universal human needs has nothing to do with another person. Has nothing to do with a location, action, time, or object. It's inside of us already. So we might think of the word Plato, P-L-A-T-O, as a strategy to meet our needs. So we might use a strategy of a spouse to meet our needs for love, right? We might need a location like Zoom, right, to have our meeting, right? An action. We might have to do something to meet our need. We might have to eat and ingest food, right? That's the action. Time, we might want to eat within an 8-hour window and live 16-hour windows of fasting, right? So maybe 2 meals a day, because I'm not a super athlete, so I get away with 2 meals. That would be a strategy to meet our needs for health. Right? Does that make sense? And O stands for object, right? So let's say I have a need for convenience and ease. I could walk to work, 22-minute walk. I could bike to work. I could take my car. I could do Uber or Lyft. I could take a cab. I could bum a ride from a friend, right? That's the object. Convenience and ease is the need. Does that make sense? Yeah. So PLATO. Person, location, action, time, object are great strategies to meet those needs. All right. Who would love to reflect what I just shared? Because that was a mouthful, wasn't it? What's the difference between a need and a strategy? Who would love to summarize what I shared? Ted, you have your hand up.
Yeah, so what you were saying, Sam, is the universal human needs, they're the needs that we need individually. They don't necessarily involve someone else. These are our own individual needs, like connection, physical well-being, honesty, peace, autonomy. And the other part, I believe you're talking about, like driving to work and stuff. Those are the different ways of achieving those things. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, do you remember what the universal human need was for transportation? Do you remember what I said? What was the universal human need? Do you remember? Help them out.
Um,
Do you want a
what was the
lifeline?
need?
You want to call a friend?
Yeah.
You remember what the need was that I shared? It has non-specific to do a person, non-specifically with the location, action, time, or object. It's a
Oh yeah,
universal
that was
human need.
The Plato.
Right. Those are strategies to meet the need. Do you remember what the need
Okay.
was for me to take a walk to work or bike to work or Uber or car? Those are
Mm,
strategies.
those are the strategies, but I missed the need somewhere. I
Yeah.
lost the
So,
need.
so keeping it broad, that helps you to understand, if that helps. Convenience and ease. We all have a need for convenience and ease. That's the universal human need. Right? Nobody disagrees with the universal human need. Right? Nobody disagrees with peace, love, sustenance, sustainability. And we all, as human beings, have equally the same needs. They might appear differently, and it might, the preferences change or the orders might change a little bit here and there, but we all have the same need.
Okay.
That's what I love about our New Earth group people here. And anybody else?
Thinking about when you were talking about the Plato meeting the needs, it seems like all those activities that you talked about are ways to plug in, ways to take those needs that you have listed on the sheet that you sent out, and you plug those into the person, location, action. It requires some sort of autonomous action on the person's part in order to meet the needs. It doesn't just happen by itself, right? You have to do something to meet that need.
Not
It's
necessarily,
not
but yeah,
somebody else doing something.
Yeah, so let me
You
answer
have to take the initiative to do it.
There's what's a process called the energy within the person to meet their needs within themselves. In heart math, we call it the power of imagination, right? To remember a time in the past where we really felt the need for self-appreciation. Maybe it's a glorified, beautiful sunset, a walk in the park. Maybe it's a stroll along the beach shoreline. We can meet our needs for appreciation if we use the power of imagination. And NVC will use similar to that energy, and we can take each one of those, let's say the need for love or peace or to be fully heard, and imagine that experience of the past, or imagine it, remember experience of the past, or imagine it for the future. And we can sit with that and just breathe and soak in that energy. So it can be done with internal.
Okay.
It can be done.
Okay.
Except for food, at some point we're gonna,
Yes.
starve ourselves to death after I think 40 days or plus or minus
Right.
4 or 5
Gotcha.
weeks. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
We need water within 3 or 4 days, otherwise we'll, dehydrate, and then we need air within 3 to 4 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I call that sustenance. Great
Thank
question.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So yeah, so universal human needs, we all human beings have the same needs, maybe in different order, but okay. And what kind of feelings would you have if the needs are met? We feel affectionate, engaged, hopeful, confident, excited, right? Grateful. The attitude of gratitude. I'd feel inspired. We'd feel joyful. We feel exhilarated, peaceful, refreshed, right? When our needs are met. What happens when our needs are not met, right? We feel afraid, right? Annoyed, angry, averse, confused, disconnected, disquiet, agitated, right? Embarrassed, ashamed, fatigue, burnt out, right? Tired, pain. If I'm in pain, right? I might feel regretful. I might feel sad. I might feel a little tense. If my needs are not met, I might feel vulnerable. Right? I might have a need for trust. If my needs are not met, I might have a longing or yearning. All right. So, so before we go on to this, any questions there?
I learned a lot about myself in the time that I was being patient. How, Sam, do you avoid when you're being empathetic to someone? But we also all have had to sit with someone who's told us some very bad news, right? Where we have the, and my problem is too, I want to jump in and I want to be the sunshine, I want to say, it's going to be better. It's, because that's how I've dealt with my own life. And it's worked for me. And I think, okay, I can be just really positive and I'll think of all the positive things. And it's like I give all my positive energy to that person. Mm-hmm. But you're saying that's not the right thing to do.
No, I didn't say that.
How do you avoid,
No.
falling into the hole with the person when you're trying to help them out? That's
maybe the invitation is for self-empathy first and foremost. There's a part of me and part of you and part of everyone here. We're a human being trying to meet our needs. And it might just be that we're feeling alone. So going back to how do we give ourselves the self-empathy when there's a pure observation versus our interpretation or assumptions. And even when there's pain outside with others, how do we feel that internal pain within ourselves? To feel it, really feel it, to release the emotional stuck energy that's in each one of us. Where do we begin? How do we feel the felt senses? It's an interesting book called Focusing, which is not part of MBC. And that's what the whole objective is, to feel the felt senses. Let the thoughts be and go inward. Where's the body sensations? And I don't want to go off on topic, but that's one of the strategies I might use. So what am I feeling? What am I longing for? Well-being, sustainability of the planet, sustainability within ourselves, interdependence, not independence, not dependence, but interdependence. How do we get there? I'm wondering how that's to hear. How is that to receive?
I think that's all fine. I do. I think it's just a lot to do in a very short amount of time when somebody else is having a crisis moment and you that's, I guess, where the practice comes in. And that's why it's so hard to achieve, because it has to be done quickly. It has to be processed. All this stuff inside has to be processed quickly. You have to self-soothe, self-empathize or whatever, and say, okay, I'm here for you completely. And that's it. That could be like a lifetime of work to do that.
Yeah, right. And could it be possible that we just start with ourselves?
And if everybody started with themselves, we
Right.
wouldn't have this, right?
Yes. To me, that is one of those. Yay! That to me is like the celebration, right? Start within ourselves. Okay, I'd like to move on, but I also want to create this space for each one of us to share, because it's important for everyone to be heard and to share, to contribute, and to be seen and to matter. All right, I'm going to bring up the screen share. If we have a feeling of affection, what needs are met for us? Compassion, love, peace, yeah? If we have a feeling of boredom, what need is not being met? I'm going to guess stimulation. Anybody else want to guess if our feelings of being bored, what needs would not be met? You gotta
Connection.
unmute yourself. Yeah, connection, yeah. I might feel bored if I'm not connected with another being, yeah. How about brave? If I was brave, what need would be met? Adventure? I was going to guess like free-spirited, like just knowing that I'm not going to fail. Anybody else for brave?
Physical well-being.
Yeah, yeah. Physical well-being. Yeah, I'll die someday, but right now I'm good. Yeah.
Accomplishment.
Yeah, I'd feel brave if I had needs for accomplishment. Sure. All right. What about if I felt calm? What need would that be met? My need for peace, maybe? Yeah.
Yeah. Tranquility.
Tranquility, yeah.
Contentment.
Yeah. I'd feel happy and content. Yeah.
Resilience.
Yes. Resilience, yeah. Okay. If I felt curious, what need would be met? If I were to contribute, maybe to give, yeah. Maybe a
Yeah.
need for exploration.
Seek knowledge.
Yeah, knowledge, yeah. Maybe like a need for inquisition, like asking questions out of curiosity, yeah.
I would say growth or expansion.
Yes, expansion, yes. What a great need. And growth, and learning, yeah. Very good. Anybody else? What if we felt disappointed? What need would not be met? If I had
Fulfillment.
fulfillment, yes. So if I felt disappointed, what need would not be met for me or for you? If you felt disappointed. Go ahead.
Self-connection.
Self-connection, yes. Yes. What about just connection in general, right? With others. Yeah. Or an expectation, right? If I had an expectation that wasn't met, I might feel disappointed. Maybe sad. How about embarrassment? If I felt embarrassed, what need would not be met? Yeah.
Acceptance.
Acceptance, yes. Very good. Thank you, Janice. Acceptance. Yeah. If our need for acceptance wasn't met, yeah, I feel embarrassed. Yeah. So what I'm trying to get here is that these feelings are a result of our needs not being met or met. Yeah,
Mhm.
good. Very good. If I felt fearful or afraid, what need would not be met?
Self-confidence, maybe?
Yep, self-confidence, sure.
Safety,
Safety, yeah. Insecurity, yeah,
Security, yeah.
yeah. What was that?
Oh, no, I said the same thing you did, Sam, security.
Security, yeah. Okay. Maybe courage would not be met if I felt afraid. Or competence, maybe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Experience.
Experience, yeah. If I don't have any experience, I might feel a little bit afraid. Yeah, to take the first step. Yeah. Very good.
Knowledge.
Yeah. Knowledge, yeah.
Trust.
Yes. I might feel afraid if I don't have my need for trust not being met. So let's do 5 more. You guys pick the feeling and need and put them together. Just guess feelings and need. We'd like to do the first one. Yeah? Can I start us off? If I felt jealous, maybe my need for security isn't met. Or if I felt jealous, maybe my need for compassion or love is not being met. We're just guessing to understand ourselves and others, right? In the context of feelings and needs. We're just guessing. So there's no right or wrong, right? Let's put the feeling and the need together.
I guess if you're feeling lonely,
Yep,
you know, you're having a need for like some social contact or whatever.
absolutely. Yeah, connection. Our need for connection is not being met when we feel alone. Yeah. Very good. Let's do 3 more.
If you're feeling overwhelmed, maybe you have a need for some like organization
Yeah,
or something, you know, to balance yourself out and put things in perspective, and so you can
yeah.
get things done, you know, and sort them out in an organized fashion.
Yeah. What was the feeling behind that one?
Overwhelmed?
Yeah. So if I wasn't organized, I would definitely feel that sense of being overwhelmed. Too much work and then not having that playfulness, yeah, is not being met. Yeah. How about nervous? If I'm feeling nervous, what need would I not be met for me?
Confidence?
Yeah, confidence, sure.
peace,
Yeah, peace. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that resonates. If I was feeling proud, what need would that be met for me? I'm thinking like,
Accomplishment.
yeah. Uh-huh. Or how about just sustainability? Yeah. Or before we had, let's go back 3, 4, 500 years, and we were eating off the land, right? We might feel proud that we harvested a very good harvest in the middle of winter, like some berries or some cruciferous vegetables, right? Or some uh, nuts that was found on surprise late in the winter, right?
Mhm.
Might feel proud. of food, sustainability being met. So notice that anytime there's a body's felt sense, a feeling, that would allow us to notice that we have a need being met. And when there's an unsatisfied feeling, there is a need being not met, not being met. All right. Let's do a couple more. We're training our brains to associate the unsatisfied feelings with a universal human need that's not being met. And then when there's a pleasant feeling, then the needs are met. We can put them together. If I'm feeling sad, let's do that one. What's the need that's below sad, that's not being met? And in this case, yeah, go ahead.
No, maybe you're not, sharing love enough or something,
Yeah, or need for connection and love and compassion are not being
Yeah.
met. Yeah.
Wholeness.
Wholeness, yes. Right. Feeling that separation of that sense of maybe separation. And then therefore we're feeling sad because we're not connected to the source or to others. Yeah. Wholeness. And let's just pick two more from this group. Pick a feeling and a need. And then go ahead and say that. Like if this person or if I or somebody else might be feeling X, I'm guessing that their needs are not being met. Let's put it together. Yeah.
I would say shy could mean a need not for connectedness or community
Yeah.
or acceptance.
Yeah. If I'm feeling shy or if you're feeling shy, a need for community, acceptance. Yeah. And what was the third one you mentioned?
I say connection.
Connection. Yeah.
Connection, yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Okay. One more. If I was feeling worried, I have a need for
Optimism.
or
Presence.
presence, or we're guessing to understand. Yes. If I'm feeling worried, I can skip my story, but if I was feeling worried, what is the need inside me that's not being met? If I'm feeling
Security?
worried, what would be the universal human need that person would need when they're feeling worried? How about starts with
Time out.
starts with the letter? All right, so let's do a little role play. All right, let's play with these puppets. So we're at puppets. So in NVC, whoops, the typo. Jackals are these giraffe and jackals. Jackals can be like likes the dark side, likes it colder, um, likes to make fun of, likes to get in trouble, right? Has the energy of judgmental thoughts, judgmental thinking against within, and judgmental thoughts upon others. Jackals are interpretations, assumptions. Jackals are also typically thrives on energy of disconnection, diagnosis, demand energy. Okay. So let's hear a hard, H-A-R-D, hard to hear message. And let's empathize with that hard to hear message in two different ways. Intra, within myself, self-empathy, and then empathy to the person who's sharing this message. Okay. So who would like to share a hard to hear message? It can be any level, 1 through 10. So for example, can we make it easy? Janice, would you be able to play with me here? Could you share a hard to hear message? Just something short, something maybe pleasant, and then we can work our way up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to maybe a 7 or 8 or 9.
A hard to hear message coming to me from somebody else?
No, you're going to share this with this giraffe energy.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that this energy of giraffe can empathize with that hard to hear message. It can be from
Okay.
anyone, but towards this giraffe.
Okay.
So you're going to use the jackal energy to the giraffe.
Okay.
Okay. So what's the hard to hear message?
You're not looking too good today.
Okay.
Ugly.
You're looking ugly today.
Yeah.
Oh. Ouch. Yeah. Take a deep breath in. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling a little hurt. There's an interpretation like I'm not looking pretty or handsome or whatever the thought is. But if I go inward, yeah, there's a little bit of pain there. And I have a need for respect, for dialogue. And there's another need for a tiny bit of anxiousness there, and a little worried. Maybe the need is trust. Yeah. Let me try it on. Yeah. Trust. Trust that I showed up the way I showed up. Yeah. And the energy of, yeah, trust. And that I look the way I look is independent of the judgmental thought of being ugly. Yeah. I'm really guessing for you, the hard to hear message person who said you're ugly, you're looking ugly. Really guessing that you're just maybe have a little overwhelmed, or you're feeling a little tense, and that you just really value beauty and order. Yeah. Kind of fits. See, in other words, I don't have to wait for the other person to acknowledge my feelings and needs upon that hard to hear message person. I can do it within myself. Right? We can have fun. Yeah. Right? Okay. Now it's kind of like a level 7. That's fine. I was hoping to be a 1 or 2 or 3.
Oh,
Okay. Let's hear another hard to hear message so we can kind of play this out. Who wants to share another hard to hear message? It could be a level, whatever level. I'm feeling good. Yeah. Who would like to shout out? It could be a 10. I'm ready for you.
So Sam, am I being the jackal? Would I be the
Yes,
jackal?
yes. I
Okay.
want to hear a jackal statement. Yes. Jackal.
Okay, so I could be like a doctor in this relationship telling you have, 6 months to live. Just like
Okay,
that,
very
right?
good.
Okay.
And finish it up. Otherwise, you're
Okay.
going to die.
Otherwise, you're gonna die.
Yeah, if you don't listen to me, you're going to die. If you don't do this surgery, right, you're going to die, right?
Okay. If you don't have the surgery, you're gonna die in 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah, part of me wants to jackal back, right? You got to be kidding me. You have learned the allopathic model for a pill for every ill, and you know shit about health, right? Yeah. You're the one who's talking. You have no idea how I even feel.
I pushed the wrong button.
By the way, I know lots of naturopathic friends, and you picked with the wrong fucking person. All right.
Okay,
Okay,
the jackal has left the room.
that's right. All right. Wow, that was really heavy to hear that. It's almost shocking. In fact, it was really shocking. And I'm kind of feeling a little lost and a little confused. There's a little tension in my body, like I'm frozen. I'm being pushed back and just kind of kicked, like in the stomach, and just kind of want to fall over and just hold myself. Wanting to take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath in. Just let it go. Just relax. Right now I'm alive. I'm breathing. Wanting self-care, wanting to collect my thoughts. I'm wanting the truth. I'm wanting another opinion. Yeah. Wanting to go to self-care. Now might be a good time to take an early retirement. Go to countries that start my bucket list. Let's spend some of that 401k. Forget the taxes. I'm not going to be around. I might as well enjoy it. So I have my sense of humor, right? I'm meeting my needs of sense of humor.
Mhm.
So a jackal out, I mean, the giraffe giraffe out might be to that physician and say, yeah, I can see how you've been classically trained. And I can see that you're just doing your job because that's what you learned. I respect that. And you want me to know what you know to be truth. Yeah. And I want to hear you fully. And I want to acknowledge exactly what you're saying, that I might die within 6 months if I don't have that procedure. I want to acknowledge you. I want to respect what you're saying. And I might just want to stare into his eyes and just care and compassionately, knowing from my eyes and from my heart space that is my choice. Before I share my honesty, I might want to ask, do you have spaciousness to hear what's going on for me? He's like, what? Yeah, I didn't think so. Because you're not trained in MBC. You're not trained in conscious communications. You're not trained in empathetically connecting to source or empathetically connecting with another being. I understand. I truly understand. I'd love to give you more empathy if you're willing to receive it. Would you like that? Would you like more empathy? Great example. Love that one.
What level was that one, Sam?
To me, it was a 1 because I couldn't have, you couldn't have fielded that any better. That was a great pitch right down the center. All right. I'm noticing there's 10 minutes left, and I want to take 5 minutes to just hear feedback of your needs that was met or perhaps not met. Love any thoughts and experiences that you shared, the feedback. Love that in 5 minutes. And then I also like to give the 5 minutes back to Janice so she can tell us about the next meeting. And there's one more document. We're going to do this, but we kind of did it in a different way and then we were going to do this, but we kind of did that in a different way. And then here's the overall NVC tree of life. And I'm going to send this out to you so you'll have it. And then that way you don't have to take notes. Okay? All right. So I'd love to have any kind of feedback, your experiences, needs taken away, points that you're taking away, needs met, needs not met.
I got a lot out of your presentation, Sam, and I really appreciate you coming out to talk with us about all of this. I've heard about nonviolent communication, but I never really understood what it was, certainly not in this kind of detail. And the model that you presented to us makes it really understandable, and for the type of way that I think about things, and always looking for clues about how to do things better and how to help my fellow person along the way too, whenever that's appropriate. And this clue that we have about feelings, and the clue that gives us as to needs that are being met or not met, that for me was a huge connection that you made today. And I also loved your use of puppets. I found it, even as an adult, very instructive. And it will be definitely stuck in my memory about, the two parts. I mean, there's many models of two parts, but this has to be my favorite representation of the two parts of us, the dark and the light. And anyway, I appreciate you. And I love that you came out here. So thank you very much. You're a great part of our team.
Thank you. A couple more minutes. Anybody else want to share? I'll share real quickly. This evening met my needs for contributions, more deeper practice and awareness, community, fun and play for sure. Just meaningful connection with each one of us in our process within ourselves for learning and growth. Just deepening the practice. And Janice, back to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Sam. Thank you. It was so wonderful. I knew it would be. And I just want to quickly say that one of the things I learned was that I'm being non-empathetic often when I talk to people. And sympathy, fixing, and there was one other. But anyway, I'll work on it. Anyway, thank you. Thank you so much. This has been really, really great. I knew it would be great. And you did it. And so next time, we're going to be astonished and mind blown and all of that. We are going to have June Sanangeline Hughes, who's the author of a number of books, Whale Wisdom and Dolphin Joy. It's her transmissions she's received. The book is her transmissions she has received from whales and dolphins. And before she knew much about spirituality, she hadn't read anything. She's getting these transmissions in meditation. She didn't know what it was about. She didn't know much about ascension, didn't know much about vibration, she knew a little bit about reincarnation and things like that. So she would get these words, she would record these words that were coming from these animals, these ocean animals, primarily dolphins and whales. And she didn't understand what it meant. So she started reading and reading spiritual books to try to figure out what these words meant. So she was really the ideal medium for them because she wouldn't put her own thoughts into it, right? She just took it as it was. And what her book is incredible because it shows and proves even that animals have a purpose here. They know what their purpose is. They are here to help Mother Earth, and they're here primarily to help humans, especially the more intelligent ones, dogs, cats, the crustaceans, and horses, so many others that we have a close relationship to. And they understand ascension. They have they experience reincarnation. They experience other dimensions. And each species has a particular purpose here, a purpose for help and to help. And that's what I mean. This it's going to be an interview with her. She'll be here to answer questions, hopefully. And it's just going to blow your mind. It's something that I had never thought about, didn't know that much about myself. And when I think about the animals I've had a couple of cats and 2 dogs, I can see, yeah, that's right. The one was here to teach me something, and the other one was here to comfort me, and so forth, and teach me how to be in the moment. They're so good about it, being in the moment. And so I could say so much more. So this is going to be something kind of different, but very, very illuminating. And much of what she has to say, or rather the dolphins and whales have to say, is something you probably won't have heard before. So this is going to be a real treat. Next March the 1st, that will be our meeting then. And you'll have a chance to ask questions, and we'll have some slides and things like that. So I'm very excited about it. She's become a friend of mine, and she's incredible. Amazing person, amazing. For 83, she's vibrant. She's, you know, if I wish I could, I hope I can be that way when I'm 83. And very personable and vibrant and energy like you've never seen before. And anyway, so that's what we're doing next time, March the 1st. Okay. Well, thank you all for coming, and love you, and thanks again, Sam. Really love you, and it's so good. Thank you.